Hello and welcome to Dinis Guarda, Cities ABC Open Business Council YouTube podcast series. We are here once again to discuss the projects that are changing the world and the personalities that are leading and taking the best strategies, approaches, and as well dynamics to make our society, our businesses, and our organizations more structured and more, I would say, more inspiring, because I think we need that more than ever in the world. And during our series, we've been profiling fantastic personalities, fantastic projects. But in the end of the day, what comes out of this is the people. And the people is what makes the world change. And as well, how we can actually make it a much better place. And of course, today, I'm very excited to speak with Mr. Pradeep Multani, the president of the PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. It's an honor to be here, and I have a relationship with the PhD Chamber of Commerce, which we announced before some partnerships. But Mr. Pradeep Multani is quite an exceptional personality that comprehends a huge CV and achievements. Besides being the president PhD of Chamber of Commerce of India, he as well oversees the decision-making process of this national Apex Chamber, working at the grassroots level and with strong national and international linkages. The Chamber acts as a catalyst in the promotion of the industry in India and outside of India, and nurturing trade and entrepreneurship. And the PhD Chamber, through its research-based policy advocacy role, possibility has been impacting the economical growth and developing of the nation, and as well advocating in terms of the business community, best practice, inspiration, certifications, and as well how to look at the different ways how to look at social economical models that actually can look at building in several fields. Mr. Pradeep Multani is an economic and law graduate from the Delhi University and has more than 40 years of experience in the field of Ayurvedic and Unani medicine sector, so an expert in healthcare, and has been chairman of 81 years of a 80 years one young multi-crore Ayurveda and Unani company for more than 30 years. So Mr. Multani is a high-profile personality of the Ayushi industry that is trying to promote traditional systems of medicines across the world by addressing different research and as well organizing seminars and events in terms of creating sensibilization towards the way we can look at these different bridges between ancient medicine and traditional medicine and the new ones, and as well creating solutions in terms of wellness and solutions related with that. And as well, he believes in the steps taken towards doubling the empowerment of society and special the farmers' income. That would be a significant income contributor towards the India vision of building a better country and a more sustainable country. So it's I think it's a summary of your achievements, but welcome to our series, Mr. Pradeep.
Thank you, Dinis. A pleasure to be here with you.
My pleasure. So I think it's quite impressive CV you have, and as well a lot of different hats that you're managing. So I would like to go, when we talk about India, India is so wealthy in terms of experience, tradition, history, and as well innovation. Incredibly, there's a lot of innovation. I would say most of the technology that we have in the world is coming from India or from Indian brains as well. So I would like to hear a bit about your personal history and how did you go from your, and I think this is very important to understand as well the evolution of India. You're still very young and you have a fantastic energy, but you have as well a great experience and as well that's I think special for our audience, and for me is one of the things that excites me more, looking at the personal life and experience.
Yeah, thank you. You see, basically I come from a family of Ayurvedic physicians. We call them Veds in India. And my grandfather was born in Multan in undivided India, which is now part of Pakistan. Then he moved on to Lahore, again, which was part of undivided India. And our company, Multani Pharmaceutical Limited, was established in 1938 in Lahore. 1947, we moved to Delhi. And now in today's date, out of the 9,000 companies in India, we are in the top 10 of those companies. Our company is, our production plants are in Delhi and in Uttarakhand, Haridwar. The plant is WHO GMP certified, World Health Organization, Good Manufacturing Practices certified plant. We also have a government-approved drug testing laboratory and a FSSAI-approved food testing laboratory. Apart from that, we also have R&D facilities which are approved by the Department of Scientific and Industrial Research. And we manufacture a whole range of products, of maybe more than 500 of them. So this is the background of a company.
Oh, that's quite impressive. So can you tell us about your background, your personal one? Because it's quite exciting because you, like you said, you have been growing between all these different changes of India, but as well with a business. So it's I am as well the son of a small entrepreneur. In your case, it's a big company. So it's interesting to hear this experience and as well about your education. I would like to hear that before you go in the company and the different things.
Sure. I did my schooling from St. Xavier's School in Delhi. This was a convent school. And after that, I did my economics honors from Hindu College, Delhi University. Subsequent to that, I did my bachelor's in law, again from Delhi University. And after that, I specialized in labor laws and industrial relations, again from Delhi University. So this is my basic educational qualification. And of course, actively involved in my own business. But I have, since I'm been blessed to have two sons, one is 38, one is 36, and I'm now 66 years young. So one thought, let's give back something to our society also. So now I'm actively involved with various industry bodies, currently the president of the PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And also apart from that, I'm also the president of the Ayurveda Association of Industry, which is known as AMAM, Association of Manufacturers of Ayurvedic Medicines. So basically, we are working here to achieve ease of doing business, promoting the Ayush sector. And when I'm wearing the cap of the PhD chambers, then of course, we look after all the sectors, every section you may say of society, every, whether it is manufacturing, services, trade, commerce, in every field we are trying to promote, our fellow members. And also, we have a fantastic dynamic Prime Minister in today's date, Mr. Narendra Modi. So his vision is to make India USD 5 trillion economy, doubling farmers' income, Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India, because we've seen whatever is happening in Russia-Ukraine war. It is very, very important today that every country stands on its feet. So we are also actively involved in whatever way we can to achieve all these goals. So that is what we are doing.
No, it's a very important, and of course, India is one of the powerhouses in the economies of the world, and it's going to be much bigger going forward, both in population, but as well in innovation, and as well in production, a lot of sectors. So one of the things that I want to start before you go to the PhD Chamber of Commerce and your company is that you've been involved in the world of yoga and natural medicine for the last 40 years. And of course, your company makes the bridge on that, which is quite important because right now it's a multi-billion dollars industry that probably will become $1 trillion industry. Actually, if you look at the well-being industry, I think there was a study recently that just in Asia is close to $1.2 trillion. So I would like to see how you've been shifting in these two things and about the world of traditional medicine, where actually India is, of course, a leading powerhouse, but as well transforming this into business and these two relations.
You see, basically, of course, it is a traditional medicine. And I will say it is actually the primary medical system of India, because it is the allopathic system was introduced around 200, 250 years ago by the British when they ruled over India. So more than the Ayush sector, the Ayurveda, Unani medicine has a history of more than 5,000 years. And it has been, very, very, it is being consumed by maybe 75% of the Indian population. And for any medical issue, one firmly believes while there is total harmony between the traditional medicine of Ayush as well as the allopathic system, but 90 to 95% of the diseases or sicknesses can be cured by the traditional system of medicine without any of those side effects which are by allopathy. Of course, if you have emergency medication, there is a crisis, you need a surgery, the need of the allopathic system is very, very primary and it is mandatory. So Ayurveda, like I said, has a great history in this country. Even during the COVID, if we look at the days of the COVID-19 pandemic, the world across, looking at the size of the Indian population, 135 crores, the number of deaths which took place in India vis-a-vis percentage of the population was one of the least in the world. And this was because our honorable Prime Minister had, reached out to our population and said, okay, start consuming some of the immunity building Ayurveda products. And all our Ayurveda industry went through record sales during that period. And definitely it worked, because a lot of our products like Chavanprash, there is something known as Giloy Ganvati, Ayush Kada, all these sort of immunity boosters had bumper sales. And I think that was one of the major reasons how our caseload was low as compared to our population, and the mortality rate was the lowest in the world.
And that's effectively actually a very important thing. And I think we're going, according to all the studies, we're going to increasingly have more issues when it comes to these things. So from your experience building a company around these areas and putting this traditional knowledge and this traditional experience in terms of products and in terms of a business, and now taking it to the world, your company has well been distributed. So can you tell us a bit of the history of the company? Because I think it's always interesting to listen. I know there is a family company that you took over from your parents, but I think it's really interesting to hear that history, and as well from the theory to the practice, how the product came and so forth. Because I think that's when we talk about entrepreneurship, we need to learn with case studies and with people. And I think that's the wealth of experience that you have that I would like to share with our audience.
Sure. As I mentioned, we were established in 1938, and 83 years young in today's date. We have more than approximately 800 employees working with us, state-of-the-art manufacturing plant. And, my father always used to tell us that, son, we are in the medical line. So whatever products we market, they should be such which you can consume yourself, your children and your family can consume. So now to be able to ensure the best quality possible, we set up state-of-the-art drug testing laboratory, which is approved by our allopathic department, our Ministry of Ayush, NABL accredited. We also have a food testing laboratory, which is also soon to be approved by the Department of Food, which is known as the FSI department. Now these are there because you see, whenever you do any manufacturing, it is virtually impossible if you start selling it. I mean, our main ingredients are medicinal herbs. Now, when the medicinal herbs come in our company, for example, we get 3 to 4 trucks a day. Now that means, and if we have to get the raw material tested right at source before we start using it, then we have to send it to government approved labs. And it takes nearly 3 weeks to get it tested if you outsource it, plus a lot of money. So now when we have this sort of a state-of-the-art drug testing laboratory in our premises, so immediately anything before we use it, it has to be gone through proper testing to ensure proper quality and, absolutely no pesticides, no heavy metals. So that is the only way to ensure quality. Because here we can do the testing in 2-3 days. And if the raw material is not up to the mark, we can, immediately return it to our supplier. And of course, having the laboratory, drug testing laboratory, what we also do is, apart from testing the raw material, in process, while production is on, in process testing has to be done. And before we dispatch to the market, the finished product has also to go. So each and every batch which is manufactured by us has got a government approved NABL accredited certification going that it complies to the highest standards possible. Apart from this, we also have something in it, the Quality Council of India and the Ministry of Ayush took out a accreditation policy known as Ayush Premium Mark and Ayush Standard Mark. Multani has Ayush Premium Mark for more than 300 products. So these further, certify the outstanding quality of our products.
So in terms of for people listening to us, and I think every family right now is using products like your company. So I think one of the things that I see in India is really the fantastic quality of the products right now is expanding it worldwide. So what would be the vision that you take? I know that you already sell into a couple of countries in your website. There's already information about that. But could you tell us a bit how you expand from India? Of course, the powerhouse that you build in India, but right now taking it to the next level and expand it worldwide, and as well how people can find about that, but as well some of the things you want to share as well about your experience transforming this in India and outside of India.
Sure. You see, basically what is happening is in quite a few countries of the world, I would say majority of the countries in the world, the Ayush system, the Ayurveda system of medicine is not approved as a medical system. So all these medicines are going as health food supplements or nutraceuticals. Now, fortunately, our Government of India, Ministry of Ayush, has gone into an agreement with WHO, and we've set up a traditional medicines center in India. The first traditional medicine center in the world has been set up in Gujarat recently. Now, and Indian government has signed memorandum of understanding with, I think, I do not know the precise number of countries, but maybe it's more than around 25 different countries, where they are accepting our system of medicine, this Ayush system of medicine, as a approved, acknowledged system of medicine there. And now with this, the great impetus which our Honorable Prime Minister is giving to this system, the day is not far where we will be in each and every country of the world. Just like, our sector is known as Ayush. Ayush stands for Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, Homeopathy. Now we have seen the yoga is already there in practically every country of the world. 21st June is celebrated as the World International Day of Yoga. So yoga has, like we say, opened the doors. And now we have to just get our other system of medicines into every country.
And I think it's one of the wonderful things that, the traditional culture of India has been taking to the world. So in terms of international bridges, because I think, of course, we are a channel that touches multiple countries. You've been doing actually so you mentioned the regulatory frame in India, and you mentioned as well some relationships you've been having with international organizations. Do you see right now the possibility of some of these products right now? Because, for instance, if you look at, for instance, in UK and even, for instance, in Brazil, I actually met the founder of Natura, which is one of the most multi-billion-dollar businesses. And actually, I hope to bring him to this channel as well. And he created a fantastic business. And then he bought as well, in Brazil, is Boticário. And in the UK, there's other brands as well, and all over Europe. So one of the things I've been finding is like you said, this is my personal view of things. I'm not an expert on that area, but it's more what I've been finding is that there's a huge kind of shift in terms of perception. Like you said, the yoga is already mainstream, at least in the Western world, and as well on emerging markets. Then we have second level is the productization of some of these products that we see it as natural medicine. And third, of course, is the brands that are coming out of that. One of the questions I have for you, as well as being multiple heads, is that India is right now, I think probably the only part that is missing on India to become really a powerhouse is creating international brands. I think there's, of course, some exceptions, but I'm not seeing still the big brands that we have all over the world in India. So how do you see that part with your multiple heads here, with your company, but as well with the PhD chamber and other things? Because I think that's one thing that is really important, because the brands in the US continues leading the world economy because of that. Sometimes the brands are more important even than the products. And in your case, I think India has better products sometimes than the branding.
You see, let me just say one thing. What was the lesson which COVID-19 taught us and every citizen of the world? Health is wealth. Everyone has understood that. And now every country, normally every developing country, even India, we have all been craving that we should have medical systems that par with America, the so-called advanced countries like European Union, England. And we saw that during COVID-19, that these countries, please forgive my saying so, they failed miserably. Like I mentioned, the number of deaths which took place there, the number of cases which took place there was really, it's really sad, the number of people who expired, because we value human life. And the number of deaths which took place was unprecedented. Now, what I'm just trying to say is that in countries like India had been aiming that we should have the healthcare system like all these advanced countries. But now the realization has come the world across that, hey, how come India had so many less number of deaths? What was the difference? Now this is what has really got the world looking at the Ayurvedic system of medicine, the Ayush system of medicines. That look, if India, for example, has to reach the American level standard or the European standard or the English standards of medicine, it may take us another 20 years to reach that level. But if we have our Ayush system as the primary system of medicine, that if you fall sick, that is the first place you go to the general practitioner. And then for any serious illnesses, then you go to the allopathic system. So now we are finding that the acceptability of the Ayush system is increasingly there all over the country. Countries like Canada, Australia, even the European Union, England. I mean, all these countries have really started looking at this system, that how we can save ourselves from any future pandemic sort of situation. So the Ayush system has really come up very well, and it is being accepted everywhere. And thanks to our strong leadership and the goodwill they enjoy in the world today, the system is really getting popular all across the world. And you were talking about the medical, the sort of products which we have. Like I mentioned, we have state-of-the-art units, which are, like I said, World Health Organization, Good Manufacturing Practice certified plants. We have state-of-the-art drug testing laboratories, which are at par with the best in the world, food testing laboratories. And of course, our Indian brain is always there. And I always say that is our biggest asset in our country. Because in IT, we have the best doctors in the world. We have the best Ayurvedic physicians in the world. So this is really coming forward as a big strength. And we have done so much of research in the Ayurveda sector also, where the products which we, for example, if I may just say, diabetes is there. Now, at the drop of a hat, people start giving you some allopathic drug. We've done case studies. If you just have some lifestyle changes and start taking some natural herbal products, you can control your diabetes and be not only pre-diabetic, be completely rid of that thing. Of course, if you already have, you're on to insulin or something, then it becomes difficult. But majority of the people are pre-diabetic and at the early stages of diabetes, and even any form of these sort of diseases can be very, very effectively cured without any side effects.
Well, this is actually, I completely believe on that. And I think we need to do much more democratization and more efforts on that direction, because it's something that, like you said, it can save millions of lives, but it can as well prepare us for a much more balanced lifestyle, which I think we are all looking forward and needing. So I'm going to pass right now to the second part of our meeting that is talking about the PhD Chamber of Commerce. So you took over as president. So can you tell us about what is the PhD Chamber of Commerce and a bit information about the organization?
Sure. PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry was established in 1905, 117 years young chamber. Initially, we were there in Punjab, Haryana, Delhi. Now, in today's date, we are in 16 states and 5 union territories. The PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry reaches out to more than 150,000 companies. And these companies, majority are in the small and medium enterprises. We of course have large companies also. And what is our role? What is the role of the PhD Chamber? What are we trying to do? Now, like I mentioned, our Honorable Prime Minister is looking at making India, from a present USD 2.8, 2.9 trillion economy to a USD 5 trillion economy, doubling farmers' income, housing for all, water connections to every household, education, skilling. Now, we as a chamber, it is our job that as Team India, we have to work with our government to achieve all these aims and all these goals. Now, whatever are the pain points at the ground level, we bring it out to the knowledge of the government that, look, these are the pain points, where if we remove these pain points, the goals which you have set can be very, very easily achieved at the very earliest. So we are actively working with all our members to make sure, because the country will, our country's revenue will be double only if our members, revenue doubles also. So we are here committed to nation building.
And it's a wonderful achievement. So can you tell us some of the numbers, the number of companies, some of the achievements, some of the things, at least the most updated ones? It's always good to listen from you. And I have some numbers, and it's quite impressive numbers.
like I mentioned, we reach out to 150,000 companies, and some of them are really giants in the field. All, I would say practically all big companies are members also. I mean, if I can just name a few, there is DLF, which is the biggest, construction company of India. We have JK Tires. We have Kajaria, top in tiles, number one company in tiles in India. We have Kent RO System, which is the biggest in water purification systems. Then we have in the herbal sector, in the Ayush sector, where I am, we have Dabur, we have Multani, Hamdard. So, I mean, practically all the big companies are our members. And the more important part also is that apart from these big companies, we have the small and medium enterprises. Now, these MSMEs, the micro, small, and medium enterprises, are the people who generate the maximum employment. They are exporting roughly 50% of what we are exporting, out of the country. Now, they are also our members. And it is very, very important that these MSMEs, the micro, small, and medium enterprises, they need a lot of hand-holding and support. The big companies of large companies can handle themselves. So we as a chamber support actively each and every member that if they have any issue, which is not of a personal nature, but a industry issue, we take it up with the government and we do our level best to be able to, ease that pain and be able to help them grow.
Amazing. So one of the things that the Chamber of Commerce and the Chamber Services provide is certification services, EPR services, and tenders and water audits and different things. So can you tell us about the certification services and how it works, the supply chain related to certification service, for instance, in India? I think for people worldwide that want to as well to listen how to work and as well to understand more the Indian economy and the Indian business.
Yeah. You see, PhD Chamber has been authorized by the Government of India to issue certificate of origin, non-preferential to Indian exporters, in accordance with Article 2 of the International Convention relating to simplification of customs formalities 1923. In addition to issuing the non-preferential certificate of origin, the Chamber also attests and certifies commercial documents for export-oriented companies and issues visa recommendation letter to member companies. PhD CCI had launched the digital platform for issuance of e-certificate of origin. PhD CCI is one of the oldest and leading agency authorized by the Government of India to issue the non-preferential COOs, Certificate of Origin. The e-platform is seamlessly issuing COOs to export houses at the comfort of their office or home while reducing the transaction cost of export to the companies. It issues close to 50,000 COO annually to Indian export houses. Currently, the Chamber is also issuing Certificate of Origin through the online portal of the Directorate General of Foreign Trade, DGFT, apart from the hard copy issuance. It also gives me immense pleasure to inform you that the certification services of the Chamber was working throughout the lockdowns imposed during the pandemic for cause and benefit of the Indian industry.
Impressive, and congratulations for that work, especially like you said, bearing in mind that, for instance, the UK paralyzed, the US has been going still with a lot of challenges. So you did a fantastic work, and especially during these times of challenging. So one of the things that I want to talk, and of course I will like to take the interview a bit bigger. So India is around, at least international standard numbers, is 42 million SMEs. That represents around 45% of Indian workforce and exports. I would like to hear your views around this and as well the efforts of the PhD Chamber, because you are a significant organization on this context.
You see, the small and medium-sized enterprises play a central role in driving India's economic growth and development at the regional and global platforms. The SME sector in India has demonstrated remarkable resilience in the last few years to sustain a high growth rate even in the face of global and economic slowdown. The sector in the last few years to sustain a high growth rate, even in the face of global and economic slowdown, the sector plays a pivotal role in employment generation, use of technology, industrial development across rural regions, use of traditional and inherited skill, mobilization of local resources, and has low capital requirements. However, the sector is still encountered with various major bottlenecks, including lack of finance, high operational costs, complicated procedures, lack of awareness, technology, obsolescence, and so on. All these problems are hindering the sector to grow to its potential rate. We at the Chamber are working at the grassroots level with the strong national and international linkages. The Chamber acts as a catalyst in the promotion of industry, trade, and entrepreneurship. PhD Chamber, through its research-based policy advocacy role, positively impacts the economic growth and development of the nation, and taking up all these issues of the MSMEs with the government and ensuring that these, whatever pain points they have, all the issues which I mentioned, are sorted out by the government. And we are fortunate that we have a wonderful government. They listen to us and they make sure that the pain points are removed. Now, in the Chamber, apart from national and regional economic and industrial related issues, we also have corporate affairs, taxation, finance and banking, capital markets, infrastructure and energy, labor and industrial relations, human resources, and skill development, tourism, agribusiness, environment, etc., as our focus centers also. So these are where we feel that the nation, that we can work really actively with our central government and state governments to take India forward.
Well, that's amazing, and I think it's really a very important thing. So, like you mentioned, COVID-19 was very disruptive, but India actually managed quite well, bearing in mind all the weakness that actually created, and actually all the issues that created for the world economy, for the world populations, and for the world healthcare systems. So one of the things that came probably more positive for the COVID-19 was that effectively the digital transformation levels became much bigger. So effectively, most of the business kept going digitally, like events like what you're doing right now through internet platforms, Zooms, and a lot of other events. So I would like to hear, so India in one end is a powerhouse in terms of technology and IT. In the other end, of course, is building right now, even in more advanced areas like blockchain. There's a lot of things happening right now in India as well. So I would like to hear how you are right now coping with the areas of digital transformation within the PhD Chamber of Commerce, and in general, your efforts and what you've been seeing happening around you and the companies that you represent.
Yeah. You see, when the second wave of coronavirus engulfed the country, PhD Chambers donated 12 oxygen plants to 12 hospitals that were in need to fulfill the oxygen demand for the critical patients affected from the coronavirus. PhD CCI had established a COVID helpline for members, employees, family members, and friends to call in the event of an emergency during the pandemic. The Chamber had offered services in the areas of medical consultation, oxygen, and hospitalization, so that any member of PhD Chamber, employees, or family members or friends who require any COVID aid can call the helpline and have their needs for hospital beds, oxygen, or any other medical supplies met. PhD CCI has also organized vaccination drive. In this vaccination drive, Chamber has included all our members, factories, employees also. The main goal of these vaccination campaigns was to make everyone, each and everyone vaccinated. Being the voice of industry and trade, the PhD Chamber has been focusing the past few months on several cohesive strategies for India's sustained economic expansion and is advocating new recommendations to the government. These transformations are being driven by India's technological expertise, accelerated adoption of digitalization, invigorating entrepreneurial spirit, and disruptive startup culture. The aspects of the Indian business landscape that the Chamber well recognizes and appreciates. The Chamber continues to play a proactive role of deliberating with policymakers on important issues concerning the economy. PhD Chamber, with a track record of 117 years. In 1905, our first president was a Britisher because we were under British rule. Now we have an outstanding track record of exactly 117 years. We have expert committees for every sector of industry or trade. It is important that if there is any international person like you, just write to us. What is your interest? We will be able to. We have our own help desk available here, where we will be able to guide you how to go about setting up your business or your service or whatever trade you want to do. And apart from that, let me also tell you, the government of India has set up a one window service, which is there where all you have to do is fill up the forms, and there are senior government officials who will handhold you, and within fixed time frame, you will get your permissions to do whatever work you want. And apart from that, supposing if they have the time period of 14 days or 30 days, if it is not, that permission doesn't come, then it is deemed you have got that permission. So there is a lot of liberalization there. There is a lot of ease of doing business there. And we are always, the PhD chamber is always there, that whoever wants, we are always available to you to be able to, that is our job. That is our responsibility, because if we have to make India USD 5 trillion economy and we have to do our contribution, we have to ensure that all our foreign friends and a world family feel confident about coming to the India. We will be able to assist them in whatever they want also.
Wonderful. And definitely I will be asking for more advice, and we will probably do more initiatives like this. So I want to thank you for this fantastic wealth of knowledge and for this 1 hour of exchange of ideas. We'll put the links for everyone listening to us to learn more, and your profile, which is extraordinary. And I want to very grateful to have you here, and hopefully will be the principle of a lot of more interactions that you're going to have in this channel and face to face. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dinis. A pleasure to be with you. Good luck, God bless, and God bless all your